Hello everyone, today we're learning mציעא Daf Hayomi. So in yesterday's Shia, we discussed the machloikes of Aryeh and Rava, the famous machloikes, if yush, lo midas, avi yush, or lo yavi yush. Meaning, you found something that you know when the owner is going to find out about it, for sure he's going to give up on it, he'll be miyash. But when you picked it up, he wasn't miyash yet. So Aryeh holds lo yavi yush, and Rava holds avi yush. So now the Gemara is going to discuss and try to bring rayas both ways. So we're going to start Chaf Aleph from the base at the bottom, one line up. Toshma, a ganev, shenotar mizeh v'notar nezeh. Someone who's a ganev, someone who stole something, and he took something from Reuven and gave it to Shimon. V'chein gazlin, and also a robber who does it in front of you. Shenotar mizeh, he grabbed something off Reuven and gave it to Shimon. V'notar nezeh, v'chein yard in the river of that overflowed. And Shenotar mizeh v'notar nezeh, it took from Reuven's field and put it into Shimon's field, and it could be any river. The reason why we say Yarden, Rashi says, because the Tana sat next to the river, the Jordan River. Ma shenotar notar, ma shenosan nosan. Said the Gemara, Bishlei megazden v'yarden de kochozilo. He could see it. The Gazan does it in front of him, and the river, it's a big scene. Umiyash, he gives up. That's why Shimon could keep the item. Elo ganev mikochozile demiyash. The guy doesn't know about it. Maybe how can you keep it? How can Shimon keep it? Maybe the ganev doesn't know about it. Maybe the guy who got stolen from doesn't know about it yet. So the cash on Aryeh, we could see l'chor yush lo midas havi yush. Says a Gemara, Gemara Papa explains it. Belistim mezuyin. It's a ganev who comes with a gun or with a sword or with a knife. Says the Gemara, Yachi eine Gazan. What's the difference between a Gazan and a Ganev? If a Ganev also means like a type of robber. Says the Gemara, Trey Gavni Gazan. We had this early on already, also in Bobby Kama. But we say two types of Gazlan. Yeah, in Ochanam it's also Gazlan, but it's a different type of Gazlan. Toshma, I'll bring you another ayah. Shotaf nar kroirov, Eitzov Avonov. The river took his wooden beams or his wood or his stones, and put it in someone else's field. Because the bailim won't misayesh. Said the Gemara, diuk tamad in isiyashu bailim ostom Elohim. The whole reason is because the bailim won't misayesh or mistam. It's not considered yush lo midas lo have. So you could see that yush lo midas lo have a yush only if we know that the bailim won't misayesh. It's a kasha on Rava. It's talking about over here that we need him to literally say, I'm giving up. It's talking about in a case where he could still save it. So therefore, if he doesn't say clearly, there's no yush. So the Gemara Yochi, if so, aim a sefer, look in the sefer. It says, if the bailim were chasing after the items, you have to give it back. If it's somewhere where they could save it, why do we need them to chase after it? Even enough that since they could save these items, you can't keep it. So the Gemara, it's talking about where they could save it, but only if they work really hard and now. And if they let it go, it's too late. Therefore, if they're chasing after it, it shows they want to try all they can to save it, and there's no use, and it's still possible for them to get it, so you can't take it. But if they don't chase after it, that means they're miyash, and therefore you can keep it. There's no cash on Rava. Toshma, come and listen, I'll bring you another ayah. What's the case of someone who gives truma for someone else, and it's considered truma? Aryeh, so Shimon goes into Reuven's field, and he collected fruit, v'toram, and he was termed truma, without Reuven knowing about it. If he's choishish that Reuven not happy with what he's done, ain't truma so truma, it's not truma. If he's not choishish from gezel, truma so truma. How do you know if the bailim are upset with him or not? Aryeh Balabais Reuven came into the field, and he finds Shimon, and he tells him, Why did you give these truma? You should have given nicer ones truma. So if there is really in this field nicer fruit than the fruit they actually gave truma se truma. Because it means the Bailim are happy, but the Bailim are saying, oh, I wish you'd give even better ones. If there's no nicer ones, so obviously the Bailim were sarcastic. They were saying, oh, why didn't you give nicer ones? Basically, why did he give the nicer ones? I'm not happy with you. Ain't truma se truma. But if the Bailim added onto the pile of truma, whatever happens, doesn't matter if there is yofis man, doesn't matter if there's no yofis man, truma se truma. The truma is chal. Ask the Gemara, in the case where the Bailim comes and he said, why didn't you take nice ones? And there actually is nice ones. We said the din is that it's a truma. That when he gave this truma, the owner didn't know, and therefore very good now he knows. And we could say phrase baradovo lefia Abai says yush. Shloimidas lo have a yush. Also here it's a type of he doesn't know about it. Afterwards he finds out and he's happy about it, but it's too late. It didn't happen when he gave truma. L'chor it's a kasha on Abaye. Says the Gemara, Tigam Rov Ali, but Abaye Rov answered. On him it's not kasha, it's actually a kasha on Abaye, but he answered it lefishitas Abaye. I'll tell you what Abaye is going to say. The Shavi Shliach, it's told about where Reuven sent Shimon a Shliach. And we're going to see the Gemara is going to explain in a second exactly what's the case. Ochinami mistabra, and it must be like that. They sent him a shliach. If it's Toma Reuven never spoke to Shimon about giving truma, so truma, even if the Bailim's happy, is it truma? It says in the pasuk, atem gam atem, Omer Achmona. It says that you could give truma, and it says gam to include shluchachem, the rabbi shluchachem that could give truma for you. Like you, it has to be from your knowledge. Also, your messenger has to be from your knowledge. And if Shimon went into the field without permission of Reuven, it's non-Reuven's knowledge, even though they're happy later on, even if you're over, it won't be good, because it's non ledatchem. And what we're talking about over here, Reuven told Shimon, and let's see what he told him. And Reuven told Shimon, Vil Troy, go give truma, but he never told him give from these ones or these ones. A person needs to assume that when Balabais tells you to give truma, you should give them mediocre, not the best Paris and not the worst Paris, the middle type of Paris. You went Shimon the Tormi office, he gave nice ones. He came Reuven and found him. Go to nicer ones into your office, if actually in this field is even nicer than the ones that he gave truma or truma, because he actually means I wanted something good. He's just being sarcastic, ain't truma or truma. But there's no raya from over here to Rava, and there's no kasha on Abaye, because it's somewhere where he sent him a shliach, and it's nothing to do with you, Shaloi Midas. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'akol niya b'dvaro. Ameimar Umar Zutra Ravashi. Have you a story about Ameimar, the Amora, Zutra, and Ravashi? Akrulu Bustona de Mori Bar Isak. They found themselves in the orchard of a person called Mori, the son of Isaac. Aise Arise Tamri Verimoini Veshodi Kamayu. The Oris, that's the person who works in the field and he gets a percentage of the produce, brought in front of them dates and pomegranates. Ameima Ravashi Achli, they ate. Marzutra lo yochil, Marzutra never ate. Adeochi, meanwhile, also Mori Barisa came the owner, Ashkichinu, and he told his Oris, why didn't you give the rabbis from the best ones? And there actually were better ones over there in the field. Ravashi, who ate the fruit, told Marzutra who never ate the fruit, why now you're not eating? Mainly before I understand you don't know if the balabais lets you or not, if I can understand, but now why don't you eat? Tanya, we learned in the Braise, if there's actually nicer ones, truma. So also here, when he told them, why didn't you give him the nicer one, and there's actually nicer ones in the field, so he means he's happy with it, so why are you not eating? Rava said, he said, When do we say this din of klachet el yofos? It's a gilui das that he's happy with it. That's when truma, when you're giving a mitzvah, being Torah. But over here, l'chara, it's also a mitzvah l'chara to give food to Talmidei Chachamim. But here there's also embarrassment. He's embarrassed from the rabbis. So maybe that's why he said so. But maybe really deep inside, he doesn't want to give the rabbis nothing. That's why I'm not willing to eat this fruit. And this Gemara, the story is mentioned over here because we spoke about klachet el yofos. Says the Gemara, another ayah, Tashma, come and listen, Oidua talalem. So let's just say a second that kedei, that fruit should be mekabel tuma, it needs that water went on the fruit and the owner was happy. So they had some fruit and the dew went on them, the tal, the samach, and the bailing said, Baruch Hashem, the fruit are wet now. Aryeh b'chiyutan, it has a din of b'chiyutan, like it says in the pasuk, and now it's mikabel tuma. Mikvu, what happens if there was dew on it and then it got dry, and now the owner came and he realized that there was dew earlier on? Afal pishe samach, even though that he's happy now that the water was on it earlier on, einam b'chiyutan, it's not considered b'chiyutan. Tamemai, what's the reason? Lav mishum de lo yamrinan kevin diglo emil sadash to nichelei mikor nami nichelei. Because in the case where they dried, you need them to be happy when the water's on them. So in the case where the water was on them and he was happy, very good, b'chiyutan. But if it's dry already, that now he's happy. We're not saying that he was also happy. And therefore, it's a kasha on Rava, because Rava says you do say gloi milsel mafreya. If you Rava the yush lamidas have a yush, the din should be is even if migvu, it should be b'chiyutan. So the Gemara, no, shiny hossam d'chsiv ki iten and sheiten. Over there, says in the pasuk ki iten that you yourself need to pour the water on the fruit. Frag the Gemara, the obvious kasha yochi reshanami. If so, then you need him actually to put the water on the fruit in the ratio where the dew's on it and he's happy when it's still on it. We say it's b'chiyutan. He never put the dew on it. God put it, not him. And he said you need him to put it. So the Gemara also could our papa. There we explain like our papa. Our papa Rami, our papa asks the kasha ksiv ki iten. It says ki iten mash yud tof nun. That means that you should put it vikarinan, but we read it kiyutan as if there's a vav over there. And we say that it should be put on by itself. So we say, you need that it should be put on, not by yourself. It could be put on by someone else, like dew or rain, but it should be dumi as if you put it. Like when you put water on the fruit, ledas, you're doing it because you want to do it, because you know someone puts water on his fruit, who obviously has intention. Afkiyut, and also when it's put on by something else, nami ledas, you need it to be ledas. So the ratio where the water's on and he's happy, so you have here kiten, you have here it's yutan by the tal, and because he's happy while it's on it, it's good enough. But when you're happy after it got dried, even Rava agrees over here that you don't say goli milsel mafrei, because it needs to be as if you put it, and you have to be happy while it's on it. So therefore, there's no kasha on Rava. Toshma, come and listen. Domer Rabbi Yochanan, Mishum Rabbi Shmuel ben Yoitzadoik, min laim la'aveda sheshot fanor. How do you know if you found something, even if it has a siman? Shimuteres, if the river overflew and took this item, it says in the pasuk about Mציעא and Aryeh. So you should do to his donkey. So you should do to his cloak, his dress. Any aveda that's lost from him and you found it, you have to do Hashavas aveda. So Rabbi Shmuel's medayek. You only chayev and Hashavas aveda something that's lost from Reuven, but anyone else can find it. Yotazu, in a case with shot fanor, shavudu mimenu, that's lost from him. It's lost. When a river takes it, it's lost. So therefore, in that case, even if something has a simin, you could keep the item. Now, says the Gemara, diuk v'isura dumyedei teira, and I'm going to go over Tosfos' pshat. When did the Torah need to be mechadesh me that something that shot for nor is mutter? If it's dover she'en bei simin, anything that's lost without a simin is mutter. So what's the chiddush of the Torah that you're allowed to take shishot fano? The chiddush is that even if there is a siman, you're allowed to take it. And Isura Dumiyotera, like when you're allowed, like a Torah is when shot fano, doesn't matter. Yesh by siman and by siman, you could keep it. So also by Isura, when you have to do a Shavas Aved, it doesn't matter if yesh by siman or doin by siman, you can't keep it. Let's see that inside. The Isura Dumiyotera Torah, when you have to do a Shavas Aved, is Dumiyot when you're allowed to take it. My Torah, like when the river overflew. Ben de is bisimin, doesn't matter if there's a simin, because obviously that's the chiddush haTorah. Ben de les bishimin shara, it's mutter. Afisura, if it's just a normal losing of an item. Ben de is bisimin, doesn't matter if there's a simin. Doesn't matter. Ben de les bisimin, if there's no simin. Asura, it's forbidden until you hear him clearly say, Amisiaish, Vailech kiss. But until then, you can't just assume that he's Messiah and say, oh, later on he's Messiah, like Rabba said, that you say Yush Lamidas Happy Yush because we got it Milsalem Afreya. So the Gemara, Tiyuvta, the Rava Tiyuvta, we slog up Rava and we say Rava is wrong and Abaye is right and Yush Lamidas Loi have a Yush. Vilcheseka say the Abaye and we paskin like Abaye, Biyal Kagam. Normally we always paskin like Rava. Abaye and Rava have many machloikesim. All the times we paskin like Rava, except of these fixed cases. Yush lemidas at ayin, ed zoimem, leche oimen me'elov, kiddushim sheim isurim bia, get something, and the mem is muma oichel avelis. All these cases we paskin like Abaye, but all other cases we paskin like Rava. So now we finish the sugya of Yush lemidas. We're going to go to a new sugya. We didn't finish yet, so we have one more part. Once we slogged up Rava, and we hold what? We hold that usually midas lo have yush anytime with the zika, these dates are fall off from the wind. How can we eat them? The owner doesn't know about it yet. Since there is bugs that eat these dates when they fall on the floor, the owner already from the beginning, he knows anything that falls on the floor, I give up because they're going to be eaten by the bugs. So therefore, if you find it and you take away the bugs or it doesn't have bugs on it, you can eat it. So he asked him, what about maybe we should be choishesh that this field belongs to Yisoimim and the Yisoimim can't be moichel. So how could you eat the dates? So he told him, Ba'aga in the valley, in the field of Yisoimim, and I don't know if this is a field of Yisoimim or not. So I don't have to be choishesh. I take on that this is a godel who owns the field, and I take on that it was a Messiah already, and therefore I could eat it. So he asked what to do of muchzik voim, and if we clearly know that this belongs to Yisoimim Mai, Karkasta Mai, if it's like Gush Katif, where they grow in a place where there's no bugs, so if no Messiah, what will be the din? In those cases where you clearly know that it belongs to Yisoimim, or you know there is no Messiah because there's no bugs in those areas, so the din is, you're allowed to, if it's forbidden to eat these dates that fall from the wind. Okay, now we finish the sugya. Now we're going to start a new sugya. We said small bundles of wheat that you found in the public place is shaloi. Omar Rabba said, even if this little bundle had a simin. Said the Gemara, what's pshat? Alma kasova Rabba. We could see Rabba hold simin asili doris lo have a simin. Since it's tokmanu shusarabim and people are going to step on it and the simin's going to get lost. So it's not considered a siman because the guy's going to give up. He says, I don't have a siman because by the time the guy finds it, the siman will be gone. The Mishnah is not talking about when these are morim don't have a siman. If these are morim have a siman, you do have to announce about it and give it back. Alma Kosova, we could see Rava holds siman asili doris have a siman, even though it might come off the siman by people stepping on it. It's considered a good siman, and therefore Dafka the Mishnah Toma was something about a siman. Some people say that this Machloikes Rabba and Rava is not said on the Mishnah, it was said by itself, and then we ask the kasha from the Mishnah. Simen Osili Doris, what's the din of simen that's going to be stepped on? Rabba Amar lo have a simen, it's not good simen. Rava Amar, and Rava says it is a simen. And then we ask a kasha Tnan, we learned in the Mishnah, Kruches Berushus Rabim, bundles in Rushus Rabim, Aryeh Lushalo, you could keep it. Berushus Hayochid Noitinu Machriz, if it's in a private place, you have to be machriz. Eichidomi, what the case? Idiles bu simin. If there's no simin, b'rshus hayachid my machriz. What are you gonna announce exactly? There's no simin. Elolav the is bu simin. It must be that there is a simin. B'ktoni b'rshus rabbi ma'arili shaloi. And therefore b'rshus hayachid you machriz because there's a simin, and it's not also lidoras because there's not lots of people. But what's the din in b'rshus rabbi ma'arili shaloi? Alma, what do we see from here? Simin also lidoras. Like here in Rishus Rabim, lo have a simen to the Rava. We have a kasha on Rava who says that simen asili doris have a simen. Amalech Rava lo ilom the less bu simen. Really, it's talking about that there's no simen. Vedeka Amrus b'Rishus Hayochid my machriz. You're gonna ask me. You ask me if so, if there's no simen, why in Rishus Hayachid you have to give it back? Why are you going to be machriz? Machriz makoim. The person's going to announce, I found the bundle, and the guy who lost it says, I lost it in this specific place. The makoim is a simen, and in Rishus Harabim, makoim is not simen because it moves around, and therefore Rava answers the kasha. Rabba Omalechor. Rabba tells Rabba Omar Mokim lo have a simin, and Rabba argues and says no, Mokim lo have a simin. So it must be the difference is because one is Asuli Doris, and in Rishus Hayachid it's not Asuli Doris, and by Rishus Rabin where it's Asuli Doris, lo have a simin. The Itma we learned about this machlokes is Mokim a simin. Mokim, is it considered a good simin to say where you lost it? Is that considered like that it's a proof that it's your item? Rabba Omar lo have a simin. Rava Omar have a simin. So these two machlokes of simin asili doris and Mokim a toile zebeze. Rabba who holds that simin asili doris lo have a simin, he holds Mokim lo have a simin, and Rava who holds that simin asili doris have a simin, he holds Mokim is also simin. Toshma Kama, listen. Krichois b'Rishus Rabim. If someone found the small bundle of Rishus Rabim, like we said before, b'Rishus Hayachid Noitinu Machriz. Va'alumois, if they much bigger piles of wheat, bein b'Rishus Rabim. Doesn't matter if it's in Rishus Rabim. Bein b'Rishus Hayachid Noitinu Machriz. So the Gemara wants to know. Rabba Eichim Mitaretzlo, Rava Eichim Mitaretzlo. Because l'chayra, Rabba will hold simin asuli doris, lo have a simin. So l'chayra, what's the difference? Why is alumois chayv lachriz? And Rava, who holds simin asuli doris, have a simin. L'chayra, also, what's the difference? Why? Rava, who said the kriches are talking about where there's no simin. If there's no simin, why alumos do you need to give back? Because they also don't have a simin. Says the Gemara, Rabba mitaretz v'tamei b'simin. It's talking about that there is a simin. Rabba mitaretz v'tamei b'mokim, that there is a simin is mokim. And now the Gemara is going to explain. Rabba mitaretz v'tamei b'simin. It's all talking about where it has a simin on it. Therefore, kriches b'rishus ram ra'alei shaloi. Why? Mishum de midrasa, and we hold simin asili doras lo have a simin. B'rishus hayachid noitinu machriz. Why that the loy midrasa, like we said early on. But va'alumo is a bigger piles. Bein b'rishus rabim, bein b'rishus hayachid noitinu machriz. Why? Kevon the gavin, since they're much higher, they're much bigger pile. Loy midrasa, they don't get stepped on, and therefore it's a simin shaloi asili doras. The simin's not going to get ruined, and therefore, in that case, yichayv la'achriz. Rava explained that there's no simin. The only simin is where it's located. So therefore, kriches b'Rishus Rabim that because it's a small pile and it's Rishus Rabim, we move from place to place. There's no simin of makoim, so it's Aryeh Shaloi. B'Rishus Rabim, b'Rishus Hayochid chayv lachriz. Why the loy min shtifa doesn't move from place to place if not lots of people? The alumois and bigger piles, bein b'Rishus Hayochid, bein B'Rishus Rabim, bein B'Rishus Hayochid, doesn't matter where it is. Noitil machriz. Why? Kaven the akiri, since they're heavy, loy min shtifa, they don't move to place. and since they don't move to place, even in Rishus Rabim, you have a siman of Mokoim, and therefore, that's why Noitel Umachriz. Shkoyach everyone.